Hi everybody. So what I'm going to show you is my modification for another stimulating discovery and inquiry from our nature journaling textbook. I chose the Zoom In, Zoom Out project, and because I'm modifying it to work inside, I was thinking and looking around my environment to see what I could have that I could use for this. And I grabbed a pepper from my fridge, an homage to my mother, who in her days, well, actually, she still loves to paint and draw peppers, but that's besides the point. Let's talk about zooming in and zooming out. So I grabbed myself a pepper that I had in the fridge. This could be a great opportunity for you to expose your students to some really cool or average fruits and vegetables. Bring them in, and then you can have the kids do this project with it, and then you could have a nice little taste testing of all the fruits and vegetables. That might be kind of cool. Other options you could do: house plants, pictures of plants. But if you do a picture, a photo reference for this of plants, you want to make sure you get those three different views, magnifications, I should say. So you want to have a picture of the full plant from ground to tip. You want to have maybe a medium zoom in photo of your plant, and then you'll probably want a really super close up photo. I'm really sorry about the lighting. I'm hoping that you'll be able to see enough of my actual drawing paper that you'll kind of get an idea of what to do for this. So the idea behind this activity is you want to have students observe closely one plant or item, and then you want them to do three different scales of observation, of inquiry. So you're going to start out right in the center of your page, drawing the object as life-size as you possibly can. And you'll probably see a lot of students doing this, trying to trace the whole object. And I understand there's a lot of safety in that, but you want to maybe front load them and say, I want you to first just scientifically observe the plant, and then I want you to do a scientific sketch. And no tracing is going to be allowed because that's not a sketch. So yeah, just like front load them with the information that they're not going to be able to put the object on their paper and trace it. And if they really put up a fight, then just let them trace it. No biggie, right? So I'm going to go ahead and in the middle of my paper, I'm going to try to draw it as life-size as possible. And remember, it's just a sketch. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it should be roundabout life-size. And they can make changes to it as they go. And because this is a scientific inquiry, you want them to also make some written observations on their sketches. So I can do some little arrow labels and say yellow. If you want to get real specific, it's a light yellow / yellow, or it's a little on the orange side. Orange. And yeah, I do tend to abbreviate some things just to make it a little quicker. I don't know if that would be a plus or a minus for you and your students. So, object. So I want to kind of add a little bit more observational detail to the life-size sketch. So I can add those, like I notice that this middle stem of my pepper has a little bit more going on than just what I drew on my paper. So as a scientist, I can take note of, there's a little bump here and a little bump here, a little bump here and a little bump here. And you can have your students take note of all those little tiny details that they can see from that life-size point of view, magnification. So I'm just going to add some of those details to mine. Remember, it's not about making a pretty drawing. This is all about just noticing and drawing what you notice. So I'm noticing that I can actually add some more details. And then I can add some extra notices, some observations here. Yeah. So I'm going to stop there for my life-size view. And what's kind of fun is with this, I can put it down on my paper just to get an idea of like, okay, yep, I did draw about life-size. So the next magnification is going to be a zoom in. And what you want to do is have your students find a particular interesting part of their plant or object that they're drawing and have them circle it on their life-size sketch. So yeah, I'm totally intrigued by all these weird little squiggly things right here. So I'm going to go ahead and circle just that small little section right there, because I don't care about anybody over here. I'm really interested in this little squiggle. So I'm going to circle that, and then that is going to be my zoom in. So I can go ahead and I'm going to draw that circle. It's almost like a magnifying lens. I'm going to draw that circle, and then I am going to zoom right in on my pepper and take a look at it and then draw that interesting detail that I wanted to draw. Let's see. Yeah. So I love how this is so curvy. I'm going to go ahead and just try to get as zoomed in as I can. If students have a hard time with the starting point, just have them look at the circle they drew. So I'm looking at my circle that I drew, and I'm noticing, oh, okay, in my circle, right over here on the side is the top of that stem. So I can go ahead and look at this circle. Okay, here's the big circle. I can draw my top of my stem here. Okay, and then what do I see? Okay, I see that bottom part, and then there's that other outer ring, this part of the pepper stem, and then there's all that waffliness, and then right here at the edge, I can see that I drew the edge right here of the stem. So I can go ahead and throw those details in. Okay, and that's kind of a basic gist right there for the pepper drawing of my zoom in. And then I can go ahead and really like get right up close to that pepper and see what's going on there and see what I can draw for details. So I'm going to look and I'm going to draw. Look and draw. And I am not thinking about making a pretty picture at all. I am just looking and drawing what I see. It just looks like a bunch of lines, and that's okay. Because while I'm just looking and focusing on drawing the lines and the shapes I see, I am spending time in the moment thinking about what I'm looking at and noticing. It's like this whole other little world that you didn't know existed on the stem of a pepper. And it's really neat to see the idea behind this is, you want to have a life-size view, a really super close magnified view, and then a almost like a sky view, like 3 or 4 or 10 steps away view. So sometimes students will have a tendency to focus on, things that are like they'll focus on the real tiny little intricate details, Sometimes some students will focus on just the whole big picture thing. And this really stretches them and makes them practice looking at an object, from a foot away, looking at an object from an inch away, and then looking at an object from a couple of feet away. And that, I love that idea of them stretching their powers of observation to not just notice things when they're close up, not just notice things when they're right in front of you, and not just notice things that are far, far away. All right, so I would go ahead and spend some more time continuing with that, doing my close-up magnification detail, and I'll label this zoom in, and I can make any written details that I want, like this is dark green down here. I like to make notes about the color for some reason. I could make a note that right here, it's like old, dry stem top. And I can write cut off, question mark, because I'm thinking, well, how did that stem end up looking like that? Questions are always good to have your students jot down quick on the side too. All right, so I've got my life-size view, I've got my zoomed in view, and now I do the zoom out. I'm going to label that down here. Zoom out. And this would be cool if this was a pepper attached to a whole pepper plant, because then you could get like, the pot that the plant is growing in, you can get the stem, the leaves, and then the fruit hanging off of it. But we don't have that, so I'll just do a far, far away view of the pepper, and it's going to just be a general shape. I'm just going to notice, actually what I can do is lightly sketch a general shape. It's actually tall and skinny, and I am tending to draw it a little wider than it truly is. So, yeah, I'll just sketch that in, making sure that I'm drawing what I see and not what my brain is telling me. The symbol of a pepper is this, so it's got to look like this. It's like, no, actually, peppers look like all different shapes and sizes and kinds. They are like snowflakes. So no pepper is ever going to look like the other pepper that's right next to it. So, there. All right, and there's my zoomed out view. And that is my my take on the zoom in, zoom out, scientific or stimulating discovery and inquiry. I hope this was helpful. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll see you later.